All right, Shalom. All praise, honor, glory, and fear to Yahweh Shem Shai by Shem Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. And peace and salutations to the hopeful like brothers out there and striving for this truth and sincerity. And I want to also give a special shout out to the Israelite foreigners out there that's starting to wake up. You have brothers out there they may take on the appearance of another nation, but their seed goes back to one of the 12 tribes. They understand, they believe. I say shalom to you and as well to the few sisters that's tuning in and trying to get themselves in order. So I want to do a quick video speaking of women. I'm going to play this clip and then I'll go back into the commentary of it.
Wow. Who made that? Who made that? Let me see. Click on it. Oh, hold on. Post this like soon. We gotta move fast and start calling people.
Let me call.
Okay, let me call you back. Let me just call Kanye really quick.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's not okay though. It's not. On Roblox. Sam was on Roblox yesterday. And a thing popped up. And he started laughing. I was like, Mommy, look. And it was a picture of my cry face. And it was a game that someone made of Roblox. And it said Kim's new sex tape. When you clicked on it, thank God he can't read yet. And it's like, over my dead body, is this shit gonna happen to me again?
So that's basically a little clip about Kim Kardashian. Years ago, she made a sex tape with Ray J, and it went viral. And it's pretty much still viral. I mean, that's what her claim to fame was initially. The first steps in the ladder of her climbing up the celebrity chain was that sex tape. Nobody knew who she was, like as far as in the masses of people. The world didn't know who she was. Then that sex tape aired, and then people started figuring out who she was, and her family ties, and all that goes into that with O.J. Simpson, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that's been said about their family for years, but she is the one with the biggest name, and that sex tape gave her the biggest name out of all the Kardashians, even bigger than her father, which was a A1 A1 high class attorney, lawyer, was one of O.J. Simpson's lawyers on his team that a lot of people knew from that. But her and Ray J got together and they did the sex tape and they aired it. They aired it out, and here we go. She the one that benefited the most from the sex tape. He didn't really benefit. He was already an R&B singer or whatever. He already had some sort of celebrity status, but never on the celebrity status that she's gotten to, or financially where she's gotten to. But either way it go, this is the epitome of women today of not taking accountability for their actions. You know damn well she would not, if she had to do it all over again, she wouldn't care how many of her kids was to see that sex tape. It shot her and launched her to have a career. Hell, it put all them Kardashians on the map. Cause I didn't know none of them at first. And I think Kylie is the youngest one. She's like the richest one, with her makeup line and everything she got going. Like, they've all benefited from this sex tape because Kim was the first one out the door. She was the first Kardashian other than their father to make a public name for themselves. And now she's crying, talking about her son might have got a hold of the sex tape. As if you care. That's all for the cameras and the fake fans, the people who believe the hoops, all the song and dance. If you believe that she really cares, she'd do that. She would do that shit all over again. The only regret that she probably has of making that sex tape was that she probably wished it was with a bigger celebrity, like a more famous celebrity than Ray J. If it could have been with some of the other celebrities that she ended up being with or getting with, she might have wanted to do a sex tape with maybe one of them or somebody else that could have got her even more famous than what she ended up becoming. But either way it go, if you ask me, it did the job for her. That's what she wanted. That was the whole purpose of it. But the point of the matter is we deal in a society where women don't take accountability of their actions for the simple fact that why are you on TV crying? You knew this was going to surface. You know that once the internet got a hold of your information or get a hold of you that footage is always out there. They bring up footage from years ago, from the 90s and 80s. It just doesn't stop. For her to real act that way, like you didn't know your kid was going to get a hold of that one day. Come on. Anyway, let's get into the first scripture. This is Isaiah 57:1. I'm starting at verse 3. But draw near hither, ye sons of the sorcerers, the seed of the adulterer and the whore, against whom do ye sport yourselves? Against whom make ye a wide mouth, and draw out the tongue? Are ye not children of transgression, a seed of falsehood? And this is what today's society, especially dealing with the woman counterpart, the things that they do. Most of the adultery that takes place is women committing adultery. First of all, it's way more women than men, so they're going to be committing more adultery than men. Then also the whorish ways. And how they they widen their mouth and they draw in through the tongue. It's all falsehood. They're some of the most conniving and lying people, like taking Kim Kardashian. She's sitting up there lying on camera of how she feel about her son seeing this. You knew this was gonna happen before you even had made the tape. You knew your loved ones. You didn't give a damn about your parents or anybody else finding out about the sex tape when you released it. So come talking about now, almost 20 years later, you're embarrassed or you want to cry about your son catching hold of this. Verse 5. Inflaming yourselves with idols under every green tree, slaying the children in the valleys under the clefts of the rocks. Among the smooth stones of the stream is thy portion. They are thy lot. I mean, this is their lot. This is what they gonna do. This is these type of, not just women but people in general. With what you see from a person, that's their lot. That's what they won't deviate from it. That's just how they are. Even to them has thou poured a drink offering. Thou hast offered a meat offering. Should I receive comfort in this? The Most High is not going to respect that. You got people who do all the wickedness is what they want, but then they go and offer a burnt offering unto the Most High. Like you might celebrate this holiday or that holiday, asking for it. You got Easter Sunday coming up. You got people who will show up in their Sunday best, go out to church and ask the Lord for forgiveness and feeling all kind of false joy after they know they've been doing all kind of wicked stuff, but then they gonna feel good about themselves showing up for Easter Sunday, and then they gonna go out to eat. That burnt offering doesn't matter to the Most High. He's not gonna honor that. Verse 7. Upon a lofty and high mountain hast thou set thy bed, even thither wentest thou up to offer sacrifice. Behind the door also and the post hast thou set up thy remembrance, for thou hast discovered thyself to another than me, and art gone up. Thou hast enlarged thy bed and made thee a covenant with them. Thou loved their beds, whether thou sawest it. And that's you can contribute that to the so-called white man and how he allows society to be ran. He allows women to do the outrageous things with no type of consequences, no concerns, no nothing. I seen a video where a guy said something to a woman, and she just open hand to smack the shit out this dude. Smacked him hard as hell. She didn't go to jail. As far as I know, that's assault. That's violent. That's a violent crime. It's assault. You assaulted somebody. You're supposed to go to jail. Women can get away with doing that. A man can offend a woman by something he might say, and that right there gives her the right to strike this man. But if a woman says something to offend a man, they could say some pretty hurtful, nasty things. Because a lot of times women, certain women, not all, but some women, they're like meat cleavers. They're like cats, man. The gloves are off with them. Like they get into a cat fight with you. They want to say whatever they can to hurt you, because they know they can't really physically hurt you. So they want to hurt you with words. They want to cut you deep. They want to say something so hurtful. If a woman says something so hurtful to a man, and he gets in his emotions, his feelings behind something sensitive that she said to him, and if he just grabs this woman, not even smack her, not even strike her, just grabs her by the shoulders. They say he shake her or he grabs her tight and looks her in the face and he's talking to her. That man can go to jail for that. He can get locked up for that. This is the world we live in. And when the scriptures say that, back in verse 8, where it says, thou hast enlarged thy bed and made thee a covenant with them. That's the so-called white man. Meaning you do the covenant you made is with the so-called white man allows wicked stuff to go on, and you partake in doing the wickedness. You made your bed with them. You enlarged your bed. You're doing things you wouldn't normally do and you shouldn't do, but since it's being allowed, you do it. Thou lovest their bed, their wickedness, whether thou sawest it. It's Proverbs 30 and 20. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness. And that's Kim Kardashian right there. She did a sex tape. I don't know exactly how long ago. It was in the 90s, late 90s, I believe it was, maybe early 2000s. But I mean, let's just say it was 2000. It's 2022, so it's been 20 years if it came out. But I'm really thinking, I'm not sure. You could do the research if you care to know, but she did this sex tape years ago. That's her eating, right? And now 20 years later, she's on her own reality show, crying about her son finding out about it. That's wiping her mouth, meaning and saying that she had done no wickedness, like basically trying to cover up, like it ain't like she said, I'll be damned if this happens to me again. Like you really care to go through what you went through? You didn't even go through. No, it was all publicity. They got a saying in showbiz. It's all publicity is good publicity. No such thing as bad publicity. So even if you did some of the most horrendous things, that's good publicity because you're gonna trend. It's gonna be a buzz behind your name and your actions that you did, and it's gonna go viral, and people all over is gonna learn about you that didn't normally know anything about you. So that makes it good publicity because now you're known in areas you weren't frequent, or you wouldn't have had a purpose or reason to be known to those types of people. This is Sirach 26 and 11. Watch over an impotent eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. So if you got a woman that you can tell if a woman's, if you watch the woman you dealing with, if you keep your scopel on her, and you constantly watching, you'll find out and see if she got long tongue eyes. You'll see if she's the type of chick that be checking dudes out. If she's flirtatious. If she seems like she could be promiscuous. If she's touchy-feely with you, she didn't just begin to be touchy-feely because she's around you. She's a touchy-feely person. So when she's around guys and she's not around with you, she's touchy-feely with them. More than likely. I'm not gonna guarantee. I'm not saying that for sure, but that's just kind of how they are. And women are they women are emotional creatures, so they base their actions and activities is based off an emotion that they get sparked. If a guy says something funny, like this might just be a coworker. She could just be in the break room talking to dude, and she might find him, attractive or think he's a nice looking guy, well put together guy, whatever it is. If she wasn't with you, she might have made a run at him or let him make a run at her, or whatever the case may be. But if she's talking to this guy and he says something to make her laugh, he sparked a humorous emotion out of her, and she's gonna react to that. She's gonna touch him in some kind of way when she laughs, cause that's if she might can control it in the beginning, but if she's more around this guy more and more, getting more and more comfortable with him, meaning letting her guards down, being allowing herself to be, in a situation where certain things can take place and that's comfortable for her. She's okay with that. So if she's, talking to this guy, laughing a lot, he's always making her laugh, then that's when, some of those laughs got to come with a touch with it. Because it could be something that she thinks is harmless, like a touch on the elbow, on the shoulders, or something like that. Maybe even a love tap, like you crazy, and laughing and kind of tap them or something like that. But these are all endowments of affection that's coming that would not normally come. But since this guy sparked some type of emotional reaction out of her, that's what he gets. Women are like that. You'll see that's when it's talking about an impotent eye. Watch over an impotent eye. Watch over a woman that has these types of characteristics. That these are the type of qualities that you don't quite want your woman to have, because what comes with that is unpredictable. You cannot predict. Now, I'm not placing this, what I'm saying, the illustration that I'm giving is not based upon all women in general, but it's a lot. Majority of them are similar to what I'm saying. And I'm also speaking based off experience, not just something I heard or saw. Somebody else go through. I went through myself. So you have to watch if you decide to put yourself in a situation where you're dating someone or you're in a relationship with a woman like that. The next verse is going to go into what comes with that type of activity. Verse 12, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he has found a mountain and drink it of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. So let's say an impotent eye, a woman that has an impotent eye, you're supposed to watch over her and not marvel at her trespasses. Like when she do certain things, you're not supposed to marvel over it. Like you're supposed to know that's the type of chick she is. That's how they are. Those type of chicks are like that. And this type of woman will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler. A thirsty traveler, all they want to do is drink. Or her mouth in this verse is pertaining to her kwabah, her vagina, and as a thirsty traveler, how do you quench a thirst? You have to drink, right? So it says when he has found a fountain and drink it of every water near her, meaning if her mouth represents her coochie, her ass, she needs and it's thirsty, it needs penetration, she needs to get knocked off. Well, of course she's gonna open her legs and get that box to any dude that comes around that has what it takes to fulfill that thirst. She's gonna get it. It says when he found a fountain and drink of every water near her. The water represents a man's rod. That rod going inside her, it's fulfilling her thirst for the sex, like her thirst for wanting to engage in sexual activity, wanting to basically get pleasured. So so her mouth represents her kobah. The man's rod represents the water, and he's gonna be providing her. He's gonna be her thirst quencher. He's providing her with that. It says, by the hedge, by every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver. Quivers her legs. Open up her legs so you can get to her kobah, her box. Against every arrow, an arrow is a man's rod. A quiver goes back to the North American Indians, where they had the warriors from the Gadites. They used to have, they used to be at war. They used to have this bow and arrows, but they had what is called a quiver, which was it was a holster for arrows that went on your back. It had a string that go on your back, and it was this round circle tube, and you would stick your arrows in there, and it would be on your back. So if you're riding a horse or whatever, you could just reach back, pull out one of those arrows out of the quiver, and put it in your bow, and then you shoot your arrow. So basically, the scripture is saying that her box is her quiver. That's where the arrow goes in, and the man's rod is the quiver. I mean, it's like a man's rod is the arrow that goes into her quiver. So that's basically, she's gonna be a harlot. So someone like Kim Kardashian, like, just own your, just take accountability and own your stuff. You did this. What's the tears for? What's the crying for? You should already, when you got pregnant, when you got pregnant with your first child and all the children that she has, you should have already came up with what the talk is going to be like the day they come to you about finding out about your sex tape. When kids start coming telling her stuff at home about what's being said about their parents at school. These talks should already be in rotation. You should be preparing these children for this type of stuff. This is your actions. This is your doing. So therefore, you should have the answer. And answering is not crying. That's supposed to get sympathy for people on the internet or people on TV that watch your show. That's who you're crying for, because you want to appear like it bothers you. You know, goddamn well it don't bother you. It didn't bother you when you did it. Okay, let's say you were young and you just did something wild and crazy. Okay, well, guess what? Them chickens come home to roost, right? Or whatever the saying is. It's like you got to deal with this. You can't sit up and cry. Or just taking accountability, man. And for you women out there that may have catch this video, the point I'm trying to make is be accountable for your actions. And that goes for me first and foremost, because I'm saying it. Is what we have to do. It's just, she could have said anything else, like, oh man, I'm so embarrassed about that tape. I've grown so much from it. That was me as a young girl, 20s, early 20s or whatever, how old she was when she did the tape. I was in love with Ray J and we wanted to do the tape. We did, and I regret putting it out there. But, it should have kept in our own private collection. But I'm not that same woman. You wouldn't dare catch me doing nothing like that now. I'm a career woman. I'm a philanthropist or whatever she calls herself, entrepreneur, and whatever she got going. And she's a mother, and whatever the case may be, man. You could have gave those type of reasons to why you're not that person anymore. But take accountability to the person you once were. And then take ownership of the person you actually are today. So with that, I'm going to bring this video to a close. I want to say all praise, honor, glory, and fear to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and peace and salutation to the whole elect that's striving. Shalom.